memory should always match the videotape.
Clinton pointed out in an interview last week she was just doing her job as an attorney.
I asked to be relieved of that responsibility, but I was not. When you're a lawyer, you often don't have the choice as to who you will represent.
He had a guy who was accused of rape, and the guy wanted a woman lawyer. Yeah, I do it as a favor to him.
That's good. Secretary Clinton.
Well, let's stop for a second and remember where we were 8 years ago. We had the worst financial crisis, the Great Recession, the worst since the 1930s. That was in large part because of tax policies that slashed taxes on the wealthy, failed to invest in the middle class, took their eyes off of Wall Street, and created a perfect storm.
I'm with both Senator Sanders and Governor O'Malley in putting a lot of attention onto the banks, and the plan that
Now, who's exactly to blame for the housing crisis? Home buyers who paid extra fees to avoid documenting their income should have known they were getting in over their heads.
Do you care to respond? Did you or your campaign start the whole birther thing? And did you have that confrontation with the president?
No, that is so ludicrous, Don. You know, honestly, bad example of what's wrong with, instantaneous reactions and Americans getting all worked up and people feeding prejudice and paranoia like Donald Trump.
Promoted the racist lie that President Obama is not really an American citizen, part of a sustained effort to delegitimize America's first black president.
With her and her campaign passing things around in the Democratic primary. Rich, now listen.
he says he is.
The Republicans are wrong for doing what they're doing. This started with Hillary Clinton, and it was spread by the Clinton team.
We're just telling
back in 2008.
But I don't even know.
That is the truth.
I don't believe.
Former Senator Bob Kerrey, Clinton supporter, talk up rival Barack Obama.
At a time in a secular madrasa.
So is Hillary backer Bob Kerrey pretending to sell Obama but clearly putting the shiv in? Here's Hillary Clinton defending him and Bob Kerrey. I think the remarks were very positive. I know Bob. He was being very complimentary of Senator Obama. He was making a point that Senator Obama makes himself all the time, that because of his upbringing and his heritage, he's in his view, catch that line, very well suited to communicate with the rest of the world. And he has just said himself that he wants to have a particular outreach to the Islamic world. So I think Senator Kerry was being, very generous in what he said. But didn't Hillary dump on Obama a few days ago for playing up his Indonesian roots? So what's she up to here? Is she pushing how great he is for having been born in Indonesia, or what? Or simply reminding everybody about his background, his Islam? Obama a few days ago for playing up his Indonesian roots? So what's she up to here? Is she pushing how great he is for having been born in Indonesia, or what? Or simply reminding everybody about his background, his Islamic background?
And Hillary, I just ask you this. You've been doing this for 30 years. Why are you just thinking about these solutions right now? For 30 years you've been doing it, and now you're just starting to think of solutions.
I think my husband did a pretty good job in the 1990s. I think
it was one of the highlights of President Clinton's first term, passage of the North American Free Trade Agreement, also known as NAFTA. Critics blame NAFTA for the loss of manufacturing jobs in industrial states, including Ohio and Pennsylvania. Hillary Clinton helped get NAFTA approved. She held at least 5 meetings to strategize about how to win congressional approval. She helped the White House block opposition from labor and environmental groups, and she was the featured speaker at a crucial meeting. Participants in that event said, quote, her remarks were totally pro-NAFTA. There was no equivocation for her support for NAFTA at the time.
I have been a critic of NAFTA from the very beginning.
My concerns about NAFTA expressed years ago have been well documented and verified. I have spoken consistently against NAFTA.
And if you look at what I have been saying, it has been consistent.
I have been consistent.
You can go back and look at from the very beginning.
I was one of the voices in the administration warning about NAFTA.
You said it was good on balance for New York and America in 2004, and now you're in Ohio,
And your words are much different, Senator. The record is very clear.
Well, you don't have all the records because you can go back and look at what I've said consistently.
I think my husband did a pretty good job in the 1990s.
And if you go on your TV channel and then post something that's false, if you air something that's false, then we can know right away via social media, etc., that what you posted is false. So them apologizing was really just trying to do damage control. They did what they did intentionally, the same kind of way Katie Tur on NBC, MSNBC, etc., does nightly hit jobs on Donald Trump ever since she got wrecked at Trump Tower.
But if you listen to Hillary, she is so weak on immigration. We will have a crime wave like you've never seen before.
Immigration is down. Why is this such a big topic for you right now?
Oh, immigration's a very big topic. Take a look at all the crime that's being committed. Go take a look at it.
The research says the crime does not match what you're saying. The research, the Pew Research, which is independent, says.
Don't be naive. You're a very naive person.
The Pew Research says that there are for immigrants on the whole
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about.
The Washington Times saying that Immigration and Customs Enforcement released 36,000 who were in the process of being deported, included among them 116 who had been already convicted of murder, thousands convicted for drunken driving, and others reportedly convicted of sex crimes. Now to this new report that's being called a, quote, large-scale abuse of authority by the administration. Nearly 68,000 illegal immigrants with criminal records have been released.
You think we have kids because we like sex? No, we're having kids ready to start this war. Believe me. I got another one on the way, and she'll be strapped up, ready for you. Come get it. Come get it. Come knock on my door and see what happens. We're ready. We're ready.
Try getting it out. Go ahead.
So this is her job now, to go out there and just have straight hit pieces on Donald Trump, to say things that don't make any sense, to go out there and embellish stories and or write out lie about certain things that Trump does. You know, he hires a guy from Breitbart. You know, I'm seeing people on social media talking about the guy from Breitbart is a white nationalist and trying to make him be akin to the KKK, just ridiculous stuff. But that's what the liberal media does. And shout out to everybody out there holding the don't believe the liberal media signs right behind the liberal media as they're doing a live broadcast. I think you do great work. Big up to y'all. TV is a dying format. Those of us that are doing this format here will be the ones that survive.
What she based her comments on around today. And remember, Hillary Clinton has some vulnerabilities herself, even as she calls for criminal justice reform because of her support in the 1990s for anti-crime legislation that ultimately helped contribute to this era of mass incarceration that she now speaks out again.
We just lost Breonna Keeler.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they just lost her. I'm sure it was just a technical error and nobody's fault.
You okay? Keep talking. You handle it.
It's really unfortunate that he paints such a dire, negative picture of Black communities in our country. You know,
Just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. 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 Bring them to heel.
So we've got to address the systemic racism in our criminal justice system.
The most important wreckage to take a look at is really the wreckage of the Democratic Party.
We need to have more second chance programs. I'm glad that we're ending private prisons in the federal system.
All lives matter.
We cannot keep imprisoning more people than anybody else in the world.
Does no one else see the hypocrisy? Forget about super predators in the 1994 crime bill. When Hillary Clinton said this, she was actively using lobbyists from two major private prison companies to raise campaign cash. And she only stopped taking money from associates of the GEO Group and Corrections Corporations of America after Black Lives Matter and other activists confronted her. But even now she has campaign staffers that lobby directly for GEO Group on her payroll.
We need to have more second chance programs. I'm glad that we're ending private prisons in the federal system.
This bill would have put more police on the street, would have locked up violent offenders so they never could get out again, would have given more prison construction money.
So it was President Bill Clinton who escalated the drug war far beyond what his Republican predecessors even dreamed possible. And it was President Clinton that championed laws denying federal financial aid to drug offenders for college. It was President Clinton who championed laws banning people with criminal convictions from access to public housing so that people wouldn't have housing upon release from prison. It was the Clinton administration that championed laws denying even food stamps under federal law to people who were once caught with drugs.
Just like Hillary Clinton is using black people now. I'm kind of tired of being used.
You can't just do stuff like this, the whole bait and switch, giving you the wrong idea of what someone actually said when people are there and they're able to tell you what really happened when footage is actually captured of the event. Like, you're not the only people there with cameras. So how do you think you're going to be able to put something like that on TV and or on your social media, YouTube, etc., and not have it be exposed?
Donald Trump is going to do well with the African-American vote. Right. He's going to do well with the Latino Hispanic vote. So the media, stop pushing your agenda. We, the people, will decide, because we have a man that's working for the people, and this here is going to be decided by the people, not the media and not the establishment.
That's right. And we already have people going to ditchandswitchnow.com to switch their party from Democrats and independent to Republican just to vote for Donald Trump in these primaries. And they're doing just that. They're doing it in rows.
Yes.
You'd be surprised.
That's right.
Okay, I'll Google it and find out.
Google it, baby. Google it.
All right, thanks to both of you, Lynette Hardaway and Rochelle Richardson.
So you see what I'm talking about, right? You see how she was kind of like laughing, just like a real condescending type of dismissive laugh. It's like, okay, you got two adult women here. Let's talk like adults, and let's not be so condescending like what they say is nothing. I mean, are you racist? Is it because they're black and they have a Republican and or conservative mindset? That means that they just don't know what they're talking about. Is it because of their high energy? I mean, what is it? I mean, you can't just go doing that kind of thing and think people don't recognize it and they don't pick up on it. And the same thing can go for CNN as a whole organization.
You know, when I left law school, my first job was with the Children's Defense Fund.
Well, you know, Hillary Clinton's an old friend, but they're not friends in politics. We profoundly disagreed with the forms of the welfare reform bill.
By the time Bill and I left the White House, welfare rolls had dropped 60%.
You know, many years after that, when many people are pronouncing welfare reform a great success, you know, we've got growing child poverty. The poor are suffering.
My first job was with the Children's Defense Fund.
Activists staged a protest outside Hillary Clinton's Manhattan office. The demonstrators claim billions of dollars were stolen through the Haiti Reconstruction Commission headed by Bill Clinton. They also say Haiti was used as a cover for foreign governments to funnel kickbacks of possibly hundreds of millions of dollars through the Clinton Foundation. They say it was done in exchange for favors that Hillary was doing for them as Secretary of State. They say they want their message to get out so Americans won't vote for her if she runs for president.
And big up to everybody online that shares these videos, not just mine, but everybody else's. You know, Tommy Sotomayor, Colin Flaherty, Mark Dice, you know, the whole shebang. Everybody, Diamond and Silk, all of them. Tree of Logic, everybody that is out there creating content to refute the mainstream media's narrative. Big up to y'all, because at a certain point, this social media, YouTube, Google, etc., is going to overtake the mainstream TV media.
Enough?